Okay, so today we're going to look at cosine. Okay, I apologise, feeling a bit bunged up, so can't talk very well. So we're looking at cosine now. So cos is what it is on your calculator, and we're looking at co-ordinator now. So we're looking at the cosine bit, and cosine is the adjacent over the hypotenuse. Okay, so usually we like this ADJ over the hype. And there's the little triangle, C is A over H. When we're finding the adjacent, side, okay, again we just put it all into the formula. So here we've got a triangle that's got an angle of 30 degrees. We've got our unknown side, which I've labelled here, is the adjacent, and the hypotenuse is 10. Now because all I've got is the angle, the unknown side, which is the adjacent, and the hypotenuse, I know I have to use cos, because cos is the only one that's got adjacent and hypotenuse in. So I put the values in. Obviously here we get cos 30 is x over 10, so I have to multiply up the 10 to get x on its own. So that gives me x equals 10 times cos 30, which when you put that into your calculator, of course making sure your calculator is in degree mode, you get 8.66. Next thing we might have to do if we're using cosine is finding the hypotenuse. Okay, so this time we've got another triangle here. We've got an angle of 15 degrees. From that angle I've labelled the sides O, H and A, so opposite, adjacent, hypotenuse. And again I've got the information for the adjacent, and I've got the unknown side, the hypotenuse. So cos is what I'm going to use. So cos is adjacent over hypotenuse, so I put in all my numbers. I get cos 15 is 5 over x, and x is, so therefore x is 5 over cos 15. Notice that the cos 15 and the x have pretty much swapped, well, they have swapped places. And this is because in order to get rid of this x here, I have to multiply it up. And once it's multiplied up, I don't want the cos 15 next to it, so I then divide throughout to get the cos 15 on the bottom. Again, putting it into your calculator and making sure it's in degree mode, you end up with 5.18 centimetres. Again, all my answers are to 3 significant figures, and make sure you add units in. Okay, you can lose marks for not including the units. So the final thing we have to do with cos is find the angle. So here I've got one, I've been given this triangle, I've got 6 and 8 metres. Again, I've labelled the sides with relationship to this angle, and I found that I've got the adjacent and the hypotenuse, so again we're going to use cos. So this time I'm going to say cos theta, because we don't know the angle, is the adjacent, which is 6, over the hypotenuse, which is 8. Now this is where we're going to take the inverse of that value. Okay, so remember on your calculator I said it was shift cos, but when we talk about it to each other, we talk about taking the inverse. We don't talk about shift cos. So here we go, we do the inverse cos of 6 over 8. Just as an aside, when you're using that on your calculator, you can do, and I'm going to say this now, shift cos bracket 6 divided by 8, close bracket, and then your equals button, and that will give you the same answer. And that comes out to 41.4 degrees to 3 significant figures.